Welcome to the Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Vantage Fit, the all-in-one AI-powered corporate wellness platform developed by Vantage Circle.
Self-awareness is indeed crucial for leading a life of meaning and fulfillment. It is the ability to introspect and understand one's own thoughts, emotions, motivations, and behaviors. When we possess self-awareness, we are attuned to our inner world and have a clearer understanding of our values, beliefs, strengths, and weaknesses. Hello and welcome to another episode of Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. I'm your host Dipshi, and today I have with me a corporate wellness consultant, Padmajaa Iyer. Welcome to the show, Padmajaa.
Thank you, Dipshi. Very happy to be here.
We are so glad to have you here today, Padmajaa. Thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome. Looking forward to having this conversation with you and to connecting with all our listeners.
Thank you. So let's begin. So before moving on to our topic of today, could you tell us more about your wellness journey?
Sure. My wellness journey has been a very interesting journey. First of all, I'd like to thank Vantage Point for this opportunity for me to share my story, and who I am today is a result of life having been my teacher. More than any degree or any course could teach me, life has taught me most of my valuable lessons. So I started off, from very simple backgrounds. I studied in the Kalakshetra College of Fine Arts in Chennai, and I also did my graduation from the Chennai University. And after that, I got married. And when I was married, I was diagnosed with, within a couple of years, I was diagnosed with an illness that, aggravated over a period of time. And by the time I had my second child, I was diagnosed with this disease or this condition, which was a degenerative disease. And the doctors had said that I had very limited time to myself. For me to be able to lead a normal life. Mm-hmm. And that is when I decided, because I already had a 4-year-old son and my daughter was just 3 days old when this diagnosis happened. And that is when I decided that I have to choose life over death. I cannot allow myself to wither away because of this condition, because I had these 2 children to take care of. And eventually that seemed to be the turning point of my life, where I met the relevant people, the relevant teachers, the masters who came into my life. And I had some extremely amazing experiences which brought me face to face with the truth that miracles are not occasional occurrences in your life. Every day is a series of miracles once we become self-aware. And that is how my wellness journey progressed from that point of time, more than 2 decades ago. And I started working individually with people. In fact, I met several masters and I trained in past life regression therapy, in inner child work. I trained to be a breath worker. I also trained in theta healing and several other modalities, which is, all these modalities are part of my toolkit. And this is what I started applying during my one-on-one work with people. And over a period of time, I started meeting more and more interesting people, and they introduced me to larger networks, and I got in touch with schools. I used to live in Dehradun at one point of time. I was introduced to the boarding schools. I started conducting sessions for the students of boarding schools, introducing them to the concept of conscious living. How to bring self-awareness in subtle ways without really talking about self-awareness, but directing them towards the more important questions of life that our academic system does not address. About who am I? Why am I here for? What is it that inspires me? What is it that makes me want to wake up the next day and to go about life? What is so special about the choices that I make? What is so different about me? All these things intrigue me. And then I dwelled deeply into the study of personalities through a beautiful program called the Enneagram, which introduced me to the different kinds of personalities that we meet in the world, and how we become the person that we are. What is the story that leads us to become who we are, and what could be the strengths and the limitations of each one of us through the study of these personalities. And that is what led me to a very interesting juncture in life. And suddenly one day I received a call from the founder and CEO of a corporate company in Bangalore that why don't you come and set up a mindfulness or a wellness program for my 3,000 employees. And that was a wonderful opportunity. It was something that I had not explored before. I had worked with people from the corporate. I had worked with people who were heads of institutions. I had worked with CEOs and CXOs, and I had also worked with some celebrities and all of that. But working with an entire group of corporates was an extremely interesting proposition that came to me. And I moved. This was a decision that I made within a span of a week. I didn't even know that I'm going to move from Dehradun, which seemed to be like home for me. 19 years I had been there. And one fine day when I received this call, my heart said, yes, it's time to move. And then I came to Bangalore, and I think that was the next turning point of my life. Of course, I had several other experiences through these 19 years, but this seemed to be the opportunity which put me into such close proximity with the corporate world, the culture, what happens within an organization, all the challenges that they face. And I was able to study what really happened inside. And it started designing several programs that could, and these programs were very unique because they had a very holistic flavor to them. It was not the usual corporate trainings that generally people attend in corporates. These were more centered around can an individual improve their self-esteem when they show up every day to work. The most common challenge that a person working in, especially with this group, because this was a group that the age range was between 22 to 27. Youngsters were straight out of college. And you know what they used to say, Padmajaa, very early on, we feel very grateful that this organization is giving us the opportunity to talk to clients. And these clients were people maybe in other countries, international clients, but sometimes we feel, are we good enough? Am I confident enough? Can I pitch my project to them? They were very good in the work that they did, but when it came to communication, when it came to confidence, sometimes that was the challenge. Then the challenge of people who felt, is this what I'm here to do? People who were not able to manage stress, people who were having a lot of low self-esteem. All such people were there as part of this organization, and I had the opportunity to work with them, to observe them, and to design programs that helped turn them around. These very people who were on the verge of quitting turned and became star performers. And that is when my confidence in the work that I was doing and the trust that what I was doing was really making a difference in people's life. And it was centered around conscious living. It was centered around self-awareness. Most of the work that I do is under, my special program, the program that I offer to corporates, the program itself is titled Unburden, Unravel and Unleash. All right. And unburdening is delving into your past, looking at your shadows. Unraveling is how can I tap into the power of the present moment. And unleashing is how can I create a future that I desire for myself? How can I explore manifestation? How can I become a creator of my reality and not hold the external world responsible for my life, taking charge of my own life? And this is how, in short, it's a very short, story or depiction of what I have been through and how I have arrived here today. Mm-hmm. So that is how my wellness journey started, with coming to Bangalore. And of course, I moved on from that organization, from being an employee of that organization. I served as head of wellness there. And then I moved on to become the chief operating officer of a spiritual foundation for some time. And then now I'm a consultant. I work with several organizations because I felt that I should not limit the work that I'm doing to just one organization at a time. And this gave me the opportunity to work with several organizations and to offer my programs and my sessions to more and more people over a period of time.
Mm-hmm. Padmajaa, you have a very inspiring journey, and I believe it's very fulfilling as well.
Yes, absolutely. I love my work. It doesn't feel like work actually.
Okay, so let's move on to the topic now.
Right.
So, which is again self-awareness. So, so tell me, what is self-awareness, and how does self-awareness contribute to living a life of meaning and purpose?
Self-awareness, if you ask me, is understanding oneself, understanding what makes me who I am, what makes me do the things that I do, what makes me choose the choices that I make. Right? Most of the times we grow up believing that I am a victim of the world around me, as to what is happening to me today or what I'm experiencing today is because of this person or this event or all of these factors that we blame outside of us. And that happens because we are not made aware of, like I said, our education system pays a lot of attention to us learning about everything other than ourselves, how to know ourselves better. I personally believe that the subject of psychology or understanding human behavior should be introduced much earlier in our education system, where it is one of the most important subjects that a person should pursue. Because at the end of the day, isn't it that everything that we experience in our lives is in relation to our relationships, is in contrast or in comparison to the relationships that we have in our lives. We aspire to be something or to be someone when we see something on the outside of us. We look at something and we know that, okay, this is something I want to explore. This is something I want to try. And so everything in the external world is what is triggering us in a certain way, which makes us want to be a certain person. But understanding that and not blindly going about our life like, okay, I am born, I have to have an education, I have to get good marks, I have to get a degree, I have to get a job, then I have to get married, I have to become successful. We live our lives believing that this is what life is all about. And most of the times people are not even aware about what is it that makes them tick, what is it that they truly want to do in life, or what is it that I'm doing every day, what is it that I'm doing every single day when I wake up and show up to the world. So that is where I believe self-awareness plays a very, very important role. Many times we are reactive in our choices. We are reactive in our world. We say things that we don't want to say, and then we feel guilty, then we repent. This is because of lack of self-awareness, right? So the importance of self-awareness for a life of meaning is, once you are able to decode who you are, to have a basic understanding of how did I become the person that I am I 100% happy with who I am? Or do I believe that there are certain areas that need my attention, and only then will I be able to work on those aspects, right? And once you're fully aware of that is when you start having clarity about what is it that I'm here to do. And it's not like there is some great purpose to achieve here. What you are here to do is very, very individual. It is very special to you, and that will emerge more and more with clarity once you start becoming more and more self-aware. And that is how I believe that self-awareness contributes to a life of meaning.
Like fully understanding ourselves and our values is what self-awareness is, right?
Yeah.
And do you think it can contribute to living a more authentic and genuine life?
Of course, that is one of the most biggest factors for becoming authentic. See, authentic to whom? The most important person you need to become authentic to is yourself. Most of the times we are aware, when we are saying something to the outside world, but we feel another way inside of us. And then we go to bed at night and then we feel like, no, this is not what I should have done. This is not what I truly feel. But why did I do that? And we are in conflict with ourselves. We carry guilt for unnecessary reasons because we are not able to understand why I'm not able to be authentic with myself. Because we are fear driven. When we live unconscious, when we are not self-aware, we are driven by fear. We are driven by, this is what the world expects me to be. This is how I'm expected to behave, or this is what I'm expected to do. And that is, a gap is there between what you truly are and what you are doing, who you truly are and who you want to be or who you can be.
Like, aligning, doing things as per the society has often like made us forget what we actually are.
Yes, because we blindly follow society. We should remember that society is not to blame. See, society is a group or a culture or an organization. Let's say it's a framework for putting in certain rules and regulation for easy governance, right? It is important. There are so many frameworks. Let's say the family is a setup where there are certain rules and regulations which are put in place for our own welfare. But we should recognize where that is serving me, till what point of time that is serving me. And then there will be a time when you start recognizing that my inner world says that I should do something else, and I don't need to really look at societies or the world, the people around me who believe in a certain good or bad. Who decides the good or bad? Who decides the good or bad is the first question I need to, we need to ask ourselves. And the good and bad that I'm do is when it comes to, let's say, choosing a career for myself. There will be people around you who will come and give you so many options according to their experience in life. Most of the times, youngsters, especially adolescents and after teenage, when you're stepping into college, after your 12th standard and you're stepping into college, if you are not self-aware, or if you're not aware of the voice within which is trying to tell you something, you will blindly do the things that your peer group is doing. That, oh, my friend is going to that college, his friend is doing that course, I will also go there, right? Because we are not aware, why am I doing that? Am I doing that because I want to study that, or I'm interested in that career path, or am I doing it because I'm seeking the comfort of the known, that I just seeking to be safe and secure in the company of known friends? I'm afraid to explore the unknown. And every time we settle down for something that is known, we are resigning ourselves to fate. And fate is always going to keep you suppressed in fear. Whereas, create your own destiny by taking small baby steps into the unknown and start getting in touch with what do I feel like doing, what makes me happy. And it is also important for us to recognize that we may all not have that clarity early on in life. For some people they do, but some people it may come later on in life. And for us not to be bogged down by the fear of losing time. Oh, I have to figure out by now. I have to do this by this. If not, the entire world, my classmates or my peer group, I have gone much ahead and I'm lagging behind. All these fears, one should have the courage or develop the courage to let go of, because only then can we authentically start getting in touch with the gifts that we are endowed with, that we carry within ourselves, and that we are here to give to the world. At the end of the day, I believe that we are all here. Every being, I'm not just talking about human beings, I'm talking about every being is here to contribute back to the world. And when you arrive upon that is when you feel like you are being purposeful, like you're adding meaning to life and you're living a meaningful life.
I mean, most of us in today's world are working, are busy, like achieving deadlines and whatnot. And also there is a section among those people who don't even know what they are doing. They are just doing it for the money, or doing it for the fear, like you said, for the fear of exploring something which they actually like.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So what do you think, like, when does that moment come when you are actually realizing and recognizing, yes, this is the time I should be more self-aware?
Correct. So when we are living unconsciously in this manner, Deepshi, I have seen that life itself puts you in situations or presents to you challenges. Now, this is where I want to introduce the concept of challenges being our allies rather than enemies. Everybody believes that, everybody prays to God that may I live a challenge-free life, may I have no challenges, may I have a happily ever after life. Even parents, they always wish for their children to be free from stress and free from challenges. But I want you also to take a look back at your life and ask yourself, is it really possible for us to have a challenge-free life? Is it not the challenges that push us to take a step in the direction of the unknown, that make you sometimes do some things that you would never have done if you were comfortable, right? Challenges present themselves to you when you have been pushing yourself, keeping yourself too comfortable, and you have been prolonging that effort, or delaying that effort of taking that step in doing something that your heart has been telling you for some time, but you say no, maybe I'll be okay. What if I'm not okay? What if I fail? What will the world do? What will my parents think of me? What will the world think of me? We allow all those things, and that is something I want everyone to become aware of, is the shadow side that we have to start becoming aware of. There is this very concept of archetypes. Other than personality, there is another factor called archetypes that comes into play here. And each one of us, the study of archetypes will show us that each one of us carry at least 12 archetypes in each lifetime that we incarnate. Now, I don't know how many people believe in the concept of reincarnation, but I, being an Indian and belonging to the religion of Hinduism, I deeply believe in that, and that is the reason I enjoy my my study of regression therapy, of past life regression. And the past life regression I've seen is not only that we have lived past life, it is also in a scientific way. When we look at past life regression, it is nothing but bringing through us, or living through us, or experiencing through us all the things that our ancestors went through. Our DNA, we are carrying thousands of our ancestors. We not only carry their features, their height and their weight, or their complexion and all of that, we also carry their fears and phobias, their met and unmet needs. And that is what comes through. And all the experiences that we need to go through, we have chosen. There's something called, in past life regression therapy, we talk about contracts. When we are born, we come with certain contracts that we are here to fulfill. And every person in your world is here to serve your contract. Right? So the archetypes that I talk about is what the soul is chosen to experience. And in that, we have seen that we have basic 4 archetypes, which are, they form the main aspect of the experiences of our life, the patterns and the symbols of our life. They are the child archetype, the victim archetype, and there are a couple of other archetypes like the saboteur. The saboteur archetype is what keeps you in your shadow. I was talking about the shadow. The saboteur is that aspect of your consciousness which is afraid of achieving greatness, because when you achieve greatness, your world is going to change. It is not going to remain the same. When you achieve greatness, you're going to have to move from the comfortable into a new kind of comfortable, but you don't know that it is going to be comfortable, and the saboteur in you tells you, it's okay, let it be. So what I would say is, become aware of the shadow aspect of you. Become aware of the voice within you, which is stopping you from going after what your heart is telling you you should do. And that is what is important for us to understand about challenges. Challenges are our friends in disguise. How can I challenge as, instead of looking at it as, why am I here in this situation? Why is this happening to me? Looking at, what is this here to teach me? What is it that am I not able to see right now that I need to start seeing? How can I be there for myself to be able to look through this challenge? Those are some important questions that we can ask ourselves.
And when talking about self-awareness, do you think there are different types of self-awareness?
See, I don't think there is anything like several types of self-awareness. Self-awareness is becoming fully aware of yourself in all the aspects of your existence. See, if you take a general look at your existence, what does your existence comprise of? It comprises of your what is your individual self, is your relationships, your health, your career, your finances, your hobbies, your spirituality, and your family. All these things comprise of your existence. Now, self-awareness, how am I engaging? How am I showing up in each one of these aspects of my life? All of us want to be successful in all these areas of our lives, but despite all of that, sometimes we find that we lack in some area. We may have a very good job, we may have good income, but maybe we struggle when it comes to relationships. But we may be having good relationships, but maybe we struggle when it comes to health, right? Self-awareness is, what is it that is keeping me in the state of not being my optimum self? What is it? And the whole idea is to become aware of my programs. What are the programs that I carry? What is it that I have started believing about life from the time that I was born. What is it that I saw around me during my formative years? The world tells you that you're an adult when you're 18, but actually your brain is not even fully formed till the age of 25. Then you're work in progress. Till then, you're still developing your faculties. You are developing the prefrontal cortex, the neocortex, the lobe of your brain is fully developed only when you're 25, and that is the area which is most important for problem solving. Self-awareness has got to do with becoming aware of what are the beliefs that make me. What did I believe about life? For example, a simple belief could be, when I get wet in the rain, I fall ill. Okay, but when you take bath under a shower every day, you don't catch a cold. Wet in the rain, you may catch a cold, you may start sneezing. So this is a belief. It is important for you to ask yourself, why is it that I have this belief? Okay, is this belief true for me? Does it really? But why is it that I don't catch a cold when I have bath under the shower every day? So simple things like that. Why is it that I get put off by certain kinds of people? Why is it that I'm triggered by certain situations? These are important questions that we need to ask ourselves. Why? Because the external world is nothing but a reflection of your internal states of being. Your external world is just a mirror, and what you judge is what is within you. Right? What you like in your external world is a quality that is there within you, which you need to bring out more and to explore and to apply in your daily life. And what you judge and what you don't like in the external world is also a quality within you, which you need to let go of. This is a simple way for you to start developing self-awareness. The most simple, to be able to look at your judgments, to be able to look at everything that you're in awe of. Some people, you're so inspired by some people. Why? What quality in that person am I inspired by? Okay, how can I bring out that quality from within me and bring it out into play? These are simple ways for us to start exploring self-awareness.
And when I mention relationships, what impact does self-awareness have on our ability to cultivate and maintain healthy relationships?
Very good question. And I think relationships are our biggest teachers. All right. Just now I mentioned that our external world is a mirror. So every relationship that comes into your life is like a mirror that is mirroring back to you what lesson needs to be learned or how you need to grow and evolve. So I notice that when we meet someone, let us say when we date a person, suddenly we feel like, this person is exactly or the embodiment of everything that I'd imagined in a partner. About some of the archetypes. This extremely interesting book that I read by Carolyn Miss is The Language of the Archetypes, which will give deeper, understanding of the archetypes. And I would suggest that our readers read that book. So what it is that when you meet a person, out of the 12, there are one or two of your archetypes which are relating to that person or certain qualities in that person. Right, and you are all enamored by that person, and you feel that, oh, this is my knight in shining armor and everything. And the moment you decide to spend the rest of your life or you get married to that person, suddenly the other archetypes start coming into play, and then you feel, oh, where did that person go? This is not the same person that I met, and that is not that, that person changed or anything. Your perception, the way you started looking at the other person, because we don't look at what is it within us which is causing the, resistance to that other person. So relationships are our biggest teacher.
And I believe nowadays relationships work like that. Right, there's so much, there's no space, lack of space, there's lack of understanding. So even I have witnessed so many relationships with my friends where there's non-stop insecurities, and then the other person is making it worse. There's no understanding at all, and ultimately sometimes it leads to nowhere.
Absolutely, 100%. See, one must remember, Deepshi, that our primary responsibility as a human being, why we are born, is for our spiritual growth. Spirituality is not something that you have to attain. You are already spiritual. You have come here to explore the human life and enjoy this human existence.
Mm-hmm.
And this opportunity for us to grow with the help of a human life is for us to enjoy, to explore, and to evolve through all the various experiences that we are here to have. We should drop this intention or this idea of trying to control, to make someone ours, to possess someone, to bind a person to ourselves, because the whole idea of marriage, if you ask yourself, self-awareness again is important in this space of partnership as to what is your idea of a marriage or a relationship. What is your idea of a partnership? If you ask anybody these questions, they don't even know. If you ask a couple who's intending to get married, if you ask them, why are you really getting married? They don't really know the answers. Oh, eventually we have to get married. We have to have children. We have to, that's what they are unconscious. Ask yourself the right questions. Ask yourself, why am I here? Why am I seeking a partner? Why is there a yearning for a partner? What am I here to explore and enjoy along with how can I explore life in a more meaningful way with my partner? That can happen when you are aware of who you are. Otherwise, you are bleeding all your insecurities onto your partner, and then this is how we mess it up.
Getting married just for the sake of getting married is not the answer.
Not the answer. Exactly. Explore and understand who am I, and it is also not, that this kind of a partner I want, or that kind of a partner I want. It's great to have an idea of what kind of a partner you'd like to have, but it's also important for us to ask ourselves, am I ready to allow that partner into my life as someone whom, we are traveling on this path of life together, this journey of life together. But just as I would like my own freedom to explore, it's not that you're here just to get married and live with your partner. You do know that you have your career if you're interested in a career, or you want to be a fantastic homemaker. You would like to raise a family. You would like to have a warm home for your family to come back to. You have other interests. You have hobbies. You have friends that you would like to visit. You would like to travel the world. Is it possible for me to pursue my interests and everything that makes me happy in my life without becoming a slave to the bond or to the marriage or to the partnership, and also allow my partner to explore everything else in his life other than just being there with me and listening to what I think is right for this marriage or for this partnership?
Yes, it works both ways.
Yes, it works both ways. First of all, setting boundaries for yourself in a way where you are clear about what you want to do, what you would like to explore in this life, and communicating. Now, communication is the next step that is so important for a great partnership. If you do not communicate what is it that you want, or what is it that you would like to have in this engagement together with this person, in this partnership, how can, most of the times the problems that people face in relationships is because you're assuming that the person should know that you're feeling like this and they should take action according to what is going to make you happy. Now, yes. We were also aware of that and evolved, then there would be no conflict in this world, right?
Yes, communicate. Yes, I have also seen people doing that they are pissed at their partners for something, but they are not communicating, and their partners have no clue what is wrong with them.
Exactly. Communication. And for you to communicate, yes, you need to first be aware of what is it that I'm seeking, what is it that I want.
Yes.
And that is why we keep coming back to self-awareness. Unless you know why you're feeling upset, what is it? It is not, the trigger that makes you upset is not your partner. His behavior, his or her behavior triggers you, reminding you of something else that has happened in your past, which sets the expectation for you to have a similar unpleasant experience, and so you pounce upon your partner.
Yes.
Right. So, and the partner is clueless, wondering what happened, what did I say, what did I do, what everything was fine till now, and suddenly what did I do? Again, so you're recognizing the importance of self-awareness.
Yes, absolutely. So, if we talk about career, so can self-awareness lead to a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment in our careers or professional pursuits?
Absolutely. There is no second thought about that. And I think we touched upon it already. That, I'll give you an example that many times people get into a stream of education because they are influenced by their friends, or they are so-called forced by parents to take up a certain stream of education, and they get into that profession for some time, and then around the 35 years of age, they start feeling a sense of not feeling happy showing up to work. They feel that, is this what I want to do? I'm not happy showing up. This is not what I want to do. I'd rather do this, or I'd rather do that. But for you to be able to take that step, and for you to recognize my intuition or my inner calling is telling me that so far what I did, maybe I did it out of fear, but also I believe in the philosophy that everything happens to take you through certain circumstances and experiences which are teaching you valuable life lessons. So no matter what I did till today, but today, now that I'm becoming more and more alive to the voice within me, which is telling me that no, this is not what I want to do day in and day out, and there is something else that I'd like to do. And if you know what the calling is and what is coming forth, to have the courage to step into the unknown, to develop that, to develop your self-esteem to a level where you are not afraid of making mistakes, where you're ready to take that step into that unexplored area, which is going to give you the kind of satisfaction. It somehow feels right, but your logical mind will say, what if it fails? What if it goes wrong? But you ask each and every person who has taken that jump into the unknown, have always said that, when you're doing something that you love doing, that you enjoy doing, or that makes you feel meaningful in life, now this is where the sense of meaning starts coming into life. From the work that you're doing, that you wake up every day not really worrying about, is this going to pay me well? Is this going to be permanent? Is this going to be good for me? No, you just know that you wake up joyful, and you arrive upon what you're doing with a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning. And that is something incomparable. That is a feeling that no one can take away from you. And again, that requires for you to have that self-awareness that no, this is not what I want to do. This is something that I would like to explore. And that is the first and foremost step.
And what are some practical strategies or exercise that we can do to cultivate self-awareness in our daily lives?
Yeah, so the things that basic practices that a person can engage in for developing self-awareness would be, first of all, the practice of mindfulness, and second is journaling. These two practices are, there is no comparison to the kind of transformation a person could experience in their life with just these two practices. And they are so simple. They are so simple that people don't practice them because they expect all these life transforming experiences to happen only when gigantic and huge things happen, But when we tell them, just sit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes every day and sit with your breath, watch your breath. They say, I tried, but, I'm having too many thoughts. I'm not able to do that, so I can't meditate. So who said that you have to control your thoughts? Who said that thoughts will not come? It is like asking your heart not to beat for a few seconds because it has been beating for all your life. You're saying, take a break. Will your heart take a break? Can that happen? No, that can't happen. But mindfulness is your mind. It is natural for your mind to think thoughts. Here, stop or give up the idea that you need to control your mind and you should not have thoughts. Rather, you're sitting to watch your breath. As you're watching your breath, thoughts will come through your mind. You will allow those thoughts to come and go and come back to your breath. You keep coming back to your breath. This is the art of mindfulness. This is how you develop the practice of mindfulness. It is just like going to the gym and lifting weights every day. And you lift weights for not 1 day or 2 days. You lift weights for a week. You lift weights for a month, for a few months, and then you start seeing your muscles build up. In the same way, the mental muscle for focus, for concentration, for clarity, for intuition to develop within you is by the simple practice of watching your breath, sitting down with yourself, allowing those thoughts to come through your mind. Sit with a book and a pen when you sit to practice mindfulness and note down all the thoughts that come. Every time you sit to practice and you feel there are too many thoughts, no problem. Open your eyes, write down those thoughts, get back to the practice. Again, you have thoughts, recurring thoughts, write it down in a book, and then get back to your practice. and tell your mind, you can have a conversation with your mind. I do this all the time. I tell my mind, you know what, I have written it down. Now I want to watch my breath. Can you please take a break? I tell this to my mind. Then I'm able to do that. And this is how, over a period of weeks and months and years, is how you develop the practice of mindfulness. Right? You get better and better at it by doing it every day, 5 to 10 minutes. The thumb rule is for you to practice as many minutes as your age. But basically, I suggest that don't, try and make things easy for yourself. Start small, take baby steps. So 5 to 10 minutes in a day of mindfulness and journaling. Journaling is it's a irreplaceable practice in your life. I think that there is no replacement for this. The amount of feedback that you get when you journal, when you write down what is happening with you, what is my emotional state, when this happened, how did I feel, what happened to me, how did I react? You're getting data, you're collecting data points about yourself. And these are the 2 basic steps for building self-awareness.
Yes, even I have started journaling recently, and I have to say that it has given me immense relief. And while noting down each and every emotion of mine, I have gained a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction, and I hope to keep doing it for the rest of my life.
Yes, Deepshi, I think that is one of the most powerful weapons one can have with them. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, and that is the truth. When you journal, there are different forms of journaling, and as you explore this world of journaling, you will come upon many, many practices, whatever it is. Just the habit of, start simple. I suggest to people, start by simply writing down 3 things that went well for you during the day just before you go to bed. This gratitude journaling is the most powerful form of journaling a beginner can start, because what this does to your brain scientifically, when you look at it, when you write down 3 things that happened well for you, and it's not just that something that happened to you, it could simply be that today as I was traveling to work, I noticed this extremely beautiful bird sitting upon a tree, and it made my heart so glad. I felt so wonderful just looking at this beautiful bird. Or I saw 2 people hold hands and walk on the street, and that made me feel so warm. Right? Things like that. Simply writing 3 things that went well for you or you could appreciate during the day, it gives an input to your brain as to what you're looking for. The human being it has a tendency to go towards the negativity bias. We tend to think what can go wrong very easily rather than what can go right in any situation. Now, to overcome that negativity bias, this practice helps us to start focusing on what is okay in my life. I know there are many things which are not okay, but aren't there things that are okay also? How can I start the practice or start focusing my energy towards what is going well? And once you start doing that on a consistent basis, you write down your gratitude every single night, you're giving a message to your brain that I am focused on solutions. I am looking at what is going well, and your brain will start bringing into your notice, to your attention, everything that is going well, and situations will start changing for people when they do this practice.
Absolutely. Okay, Padmajaa, so we are almost at the end of the session. So last but not the least, would you like to give some more valuable tips to our listeners about self-awareness and how to develop it and how it will help for their personal growth and development?
Yeah, why not? Like I said, the 2 basic practices, I would encourage everybody, every single person, to make these 2 practices of mindfulness and journaling an integral part of their lives, a non-negotiable part of their lives. Just as we sleep every night, as we wake up, we bathe, we eat, we breathe, isn't it? Do we ask ourselves, I'm tired of breathing, I'm not going to breathe today. Do we do that? No, we don't do that, right? In the same way, if we could absorb these 2 practices, and I would encourage parents and adults to inculcate this practice by set an example by showing your children at home, by showing the youngsters at home that you are practicing. Because children, they do what they see you do. They don't do what they ask. They hear you tell them to do. They watch your practice. They watch what you're doing. And I want that the grown-ups should recognize that if you want to reduce, see, in the coming generations, the youngsters are not going to struggle for money and any of those physical, necessities, material necessities. Most of the challenges that people are going through today, and I think that came out really huge during the pandemic, during the course of the pandemic, are mental health issues. Our feelings of self-worthiness, feelings of, am I enough? Am I okay? How am I going to go about it? Everybody today, they talk about, this recession, there is not enough jobs out there. What am I going to do? Everybody is intelligent. Everybody has abilities and capabilities, but they are worried for, am I enough? Am I okay? Am I going to be okay? Is there enough opportunity out there for me? So these factors that cause low self-worthiness and self-doubt are going to be the biggest challenges that our children will face. The future is going to. So if we can bring these two practices plus some conscious living practices like, I love the Brahma Viharas of the Buddha. I learned this from a teacher of, a spiritual teacher who has been a very important part of my journey. I've had several teachers, and one of the teachers introduced me to the Brahma Viharas, which talks about the 4 virtues that one can incorporate into their lives. One is Maitreya, to be able to see friendship in all our relationships. No matter are they your partners or your children or your parents, to become friends with everyone. To have karuna, compassion with everybody, to have that sentiment of may all beings be free from suffering, to have that prayer in your heart every single morning when you embark upon a new day. The third thing is mudita bhava. Mudita is the ability to rejoice in other people's happiness. How many of us get caught in envy and jealousy when we see other people around us achieve the things that we want to achieve in our lives? But if we are able to replace that feeling of envy and jealousy with a blessing that may you be happy, may you enjoy all the things that you wish to enjoy in your life. This is called mudita bhava, the ability to rejoice in other people's happiness. And then the fourth quality of upeksha bhava. Upeksha is a sense of equanimity, to know that this too shall pass. Nothing is permanent in life. To surrender to this life, to surrender to everything that life is bringing to you in a faith that life is here to teach me lessons for my own well-being, for my own growth. So these are some beautiful practices that I have been practicing sometime in my life, which has changed my life drastically. And I would offer this to the world as, suggest that try and see how you feel. And then you will not want to leave these practices ever.
Thank you so much, Padmajaa, for sharing such insights with us.
Yes, actually.
The entire session was amazing. I got to learn a lot of things from you. I hope you had a good time as well.
I enjoyed myself immensely, and thank you for the lovely questions, and thank you for this opportunity for me to be able to reach out to more and more people through this platform. Thank you, Deepshi.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Bye-bye. Have a good day ahead.
You too. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast. Please do subscribe to Vantage Fit Corporate Wellness Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and our YouTube channel for new episodes.